Hello everyone and welcome to .NET Core Central. In today's video, I'm going to discuss about LINQ queries, specifically the internals of LINQ query. So in today's video, I'm going to create an application and use a simple LINQ query to filter out certain results. And then we're going to look inside how it is really implemented and what are the core constituents of creating a LINQ query extension ourselves. So to do that, I'm going to create a new application. And I'm going to create a console application, and I'm going to name the application as LINQ Internals demo. Now once the project is created, first let's create a simple array. And let's say it's an array of integers. And it's going to have the value 1 to 10. Now once the array is declared, let's say if we want to print out the even numbers from this array, we can use a simple LINQ query and we can achieve this, and we can use where condition for that. So what we can do is we can say even items equal to items dot where, and for that I have to add the namespace system.link, and here I can say where this is the predicate that we provide to where. So if you see the where function, it takes a predicate which is a func, which takes the integer and then returns a bool, and the integer is nothing but the type of the array on which we are applying the LINQ query. And as you know, the LINQ query is an extension method on IEnumerable. So in this case, specifically IEnumerable of t. In this case, since it's an IEnumerable of int, so we are seeing the parameter is int. So here we can say x 0. So this should give us all the even number. And after that, if we do a for each, we can do here console dot write line, and we can provide the item. So this should print 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. So if I run this application now, I should see that these numbers are printed in the console, and we can see it is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now one thing with LINQ query is when we do a where, at that point in time, it's just the query been created. This is not executed yet. The execution actually happens when we either loop through the even items, or if we perform an operation like even items dot to list or to array. So in this case, it will execute the entire query. Otherwise, this is just the expression defined, and the actual execution happens when we loop through this array. Now let's see if we have to build an implementation ourselves, what are the main constituents. So a couple of constituents we already figured out, right? First one is, as we can see, it's a extension method, right? So we need an extension method, and the extension method is on IEnumerable. That's pretty much clear, right? And then the next thing we see that it's a predicate. It's a func of int and bool, so we need something like that. And then there is a third constituent which we will get into once we get into the implementation. So first let's create a class, and let us name this class as IEnumerable extension, and let's make it public static, and inside that let's create a static extension method. So let's say public static, and just like this where, as you can see, the return of where is nothing but an IEnumerable of int in case of int. So for us it will be IEnumerable of t, because it can be any type, and the name of the function will be, let's say, new where, because this is our implementation of where, and of course it will be a templated method. And then here first parameter is going to be, of course, the I enumerable of t, which is the items, and the second parameter is going to be a func, and it's going to have an input of t, and the output is going to be boolean, because that's the predicate. Now once this function is defined, we will have to return an I enumerable. So how we are going to implement this? So let's say, first of all, of course, we have to loop through this item, and we need to figure out if the predicate is successful or not, and if it is successful, we should be returning the value out. So that's the idea, right? So for that we can do for each, and we can say var item in items, and here if we say if predicate of item, which is the t, then basically return, but we cannot just return it, right? Because if we return, it will break the for loop. So what we are going to do, so let's first take an approach. Let's say we have a var of list equal to new list of t. So let's say we have a t, and if the predicate is successful, we are just going to add it to the list, right? And then in the end, we are going to return the list back. Okay, so let's see how that plays out. Let's put a breakpoint here, and let's see how all these things work. So instead of where, we are going to say new where, right? This is our new where, the new method we written. This is an extension method. So let's put a breakpoint here, and technically, if we have the correct implementation as the actual where method in LINQ, the new where method should not be called until unless this for each statement. So let's see if the same thing happens. So let's debug this class. Now we come here, let's do a F10. As soon as we do F10, we see that it is, sorry, I just did an F11. So as soon as we do F11, we see that it's going inside this method, which is not what our expectation is. Because our expectation is we are going to continue getting into the next line and next line. So let's do that. So if we do this, if we continue doing F10, we can see that we are just looping through. First time the predicate was not successful because it was 1. Second time it was successful, so it was added to the list, and so on and so forth. And in the end, the list will be returned, and then if we continue, it is going to the next method. And at this point in time, we already have all the items, right? Because it's been executed. You can see that, right? Now, if I go back to where here and just do F5, and then at this point, if we see, it does not have any item. See, it's because we have to execute, and if I click on result view, it will execute and it will show me, but I don't want. Whereas in the other case, in my implementation, you saw that as soon as we come to the even items, we could see that, where do I continue F10, we can see that even items already had all the items in it, right? There was nothing left. So now how do we implement exactly what where does? Well, this is where the third and most important concept, which was introduced as a part of LINQ, comes in place. It's called the keyword yield. As the name says, it yields the return and then continues. So let's put a breakpoint here and a breakpoint here, because for each will be called only once. And now let's try to see what happens. Let's do an F5 here. And now if I do an F10, I see that, look at here, it is exactly the way it was for the other where condition, right? And we see that the breakpoint did not hit the internal function, which is this function, yet. Now if I do an F10, Now we see that it is coming inside for each. And then first item, the predicate get executed, second one gets executed, it does a yield return, and now it comes to this line. And then it will print this one and then again go back to this function. So you can see that as and when the for each is executing, the enumerator is enumerating through the array, this extension method is being called and the inputs are being executed. So this is the whole internal implementation of a where loop. And let me just run so that we can see that is returning exact same result as the out of box where. And as you can see, the three main constituents of LINQ queries are extension methods, some sort of delegate, most of the cases it is func, and then the yield return statement, which is the most critical part, which allows the LINQ to be lazy executed or executed only when we enumerate through the array or the loop. So this is an internal implementation of where, and this gives you an idea of how actually the LINQ internally been implemented, which is pretty cool. The three keyword or the three feature between the extension method, delegate, and the yield return is what the three main constituents of LINQ. So that is all I wanted to cover today. It was a short video, but I thought I'll start a video on some of the internals of the .NET or C# languages, and this is first of those. If you like this video and if you want to see videos like this, please give me a thumbs up. And if there are topics you want me to cover, please leave me a comment down below. And if you are not subscribed to my channel and you have been getting value out of my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching this video.